the post-mortem examination of the Western Bulldogs, where the exit sign is where everyone seems to be heading at the moment.
Yeah, and it was 18 months in the works for Bailey Smith to this week confirm he did want out, and then following Bailey Smith's confirmation of news is Jack Macrae, who, as you can see to the right of screen there, is a three-time All-Australian, a Gary Ayres winner from 2021, being the best finals player of all clubs in that particular year, and someone who's still got years to run on a contract. You go back 2 seasons earlier, Josh Dunkley. It took him 2 years to get out of the football club, but it did. And then Pat Lipinski also, who played in a premiership with Collingwood last year. This is a club, Jimmy.
They've been resolute, these blokes. I mean, it's not, usually sometimes a player can have the brace and bits, as they say, for a period.
They're stars in
and
the
you get
peak
them
of
through.
their...
But these guys have been, right, well, I'm going, all right, I'll cop another year and then I'm out.
Macrae arguably back end of that career, but there's interest in him. And while Bailey Smith is expected almost 100% to land at Geelong, Macrae could also be a teammate of Bailey Smith's next year at the Cats.
So can I ask a question to all of you? If you're the Western Bulldogs, do you care that much? Because the coach obviously dropped him early in the year. He got back in for the finals, didn't have a great finals match. Do you say, you know what, you're doing us a favour, we'll get you off the books, you go, we'll be
they're
happy.
not saying
we'll
that.
Shake hands.
They're saying to him and the other clubs, we're going to keep him to the contract he's on. What I can tell you, though, he was... let down in his own recollections, or reflections I should say, on James Harmes coming in over the top of him out of the VFL.
For this game?
For the game just gone, yeah. As a starting player on the field, where he was again forced to be the sub. Now, again, he can work through all that, but he was forced to play a role he didn't want to play during the course of the year. Harmes came out of the VFL having not played for the best part of 3 months and replaced him in the team. Equally, the Bailey Smith origins, Lordo, this time last year, it was starting to be talked about while he was still in contract for this current season, wanted out. Now, he's now not in contract, and the damage done in the 2023 season by way of his thinking, being forced to play away from the on-ball roles, was something that he wasn't able to recover from. And then when he did his knee in December, hasn't been able to work through that.
Yeah, Eddie, I look at it deeper. I think Macrae was played either not in the side or out of position. Josh Dunkley, where was he played when he wanted to leave? He was a ruckman.
Yep.
He didn't want to be there. He was disappointed, and there's probably more things he's disappointed with.
Bailey
Smith, star winger, where was he playing? He was a half-forward flanker. Wasn't happy, and Pat Lipinski, the Dogs used to say, why don't they play this guy? He's a good player, doesn't get played. And Roughhead was another player that was lost.
Do we read in they're going to push Bontempelli out from the way he played on the weekend?
and then Caleb Daniel, he's a better man than I am, because I think he could be performing far better than he is. And Bailey Dale's another one who's been also... So they're good players who don't get the best opportunities at the club they're at. So I know Macrae's 30 and people might say that's okay. But it's more the why these players consistently are looking to leave to better themselves out of the Western
So
World.
Just on that, I was joking about Bontempelli, but there's been a lot of talk about him being played, one on the bench for a little while. And, OK, that happens, you can't get back on sometimes. But being played forward when the game was in the balance, the best midfielder in the competition wasn't able to play in the midfield. Yeah,
I didn't have a huge problem with it because he wasn't performing that well through the midfield, but it was more, I haven't seen him, Jimmy, and we did the game together, so animated and frustrated in this game of footy.
Yeah, and especially when he did get on a roll coming through the midfield. He kicked the goal, and then he had this one from inside the square, and Norton, for some reason, he's backed himself in, OK, but he's dropped the mark. It was going through for a goal. But I don't think I agree with you, Lordy. We've seen that level of outward frustration and emotion. He knows the game was getting away from him. Time's ticking. The champs want to cash in. They want to take full toll. He's going to get even more personal accolades out of this year, when all the awards are done. But he wants another premiership.
Bulldogs will get defensive about this, but these relationships are with the coach. And if they're favourable relationships, these players aren't seeking to leave. Now, Luke Beveridge has got a contract for 2025, and I have got no doubt, having now made the finals in 2024, that will be honoured. And Luke Darcy is so staunch in his love of that man on screen. He found him in 2014, got him there, recontracted him about 18 months ago when that was also against the odds. He will coach in 2025, but there are relationships that have been damaged along the way, and he can live with that. He's not going to back away or resolve from what he's about, but it is impacting, Ed, as to your point, these players are leaving in the peaks of their form. And there's a question to be asked about Jamarra Ugle-Hagan's impact. Now, he had a good, I reckon, last 7 to 8 weeks of the season, but he had a disastrous final. And again, off-field, some of the preparation is still, Lloydie, not at the level that you'd expect of someone now playing regular senior football as a senior member of this team, albeit being a young one.
Yeah, he was one that I'll say Beveridge did do a good job with, where he made him work for his first game. Remember, he was in the VFL for a long, long period of time, but there's still... aspects of his game we can see just aren't quite up to scratch for someone who's been in the game as long as he has. And his performance on the weekend, it's more so Cal Shadir down one end. He refused to be outmarked as a first-year player. I thought Jamara Ugle-Hagan just had the white flag up for a lot of the night where he just got outmarked too many times by guys like Jack Scrimshaw, who are no bigger than him. So that was why it was so disappointing.